everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
Back.
We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The line. The line. You need losing so fine. Kirk Cousins.
All right. I am Janae Strother.
I am Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday. My guys got the W, thankfully. So we can smile today. And I have the honor and the privilege and the pleasure to be joined by my guy, Mr. David Luea. Dave, what up, boy?
Sean, how's it going, man? So happy to be on the show today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I'm glad you can make it because you were out of town, right? Didn't you just get back in town?
Yep, just a quick trip. Went over to New York City for the weekend, saw a concert, and caught up with some comedy and, just kind of toured the city with the wife.
Oh, I like that. Shout out to Miss Lisa Luea. I'm sure, actually, and we'll get to this a little bit later. I forgot to mention this earlier, but the fantasy league, I'm sure you guys are doing good. I'm not doing too great today, but we will touch on that. We will definitely touch on that, man. Hey, listen, so I'm glad you had a good weekend, and I'm assuming your flight was during the 1 o'clock game, so you didn't have to watch the Lions or...
Yeah, I missed most of it. I caught some highlights, turned on the radio, and then very quickly turned off the radio.
Yeah.
On the drive back from the airport, it just seemed to be kind of par for the Lions. And, there's always that hope. But, there's this joke that goes around between Lions fans, and they say, when I die, I'm going to put a Lions logo on my casket. So as, they bury me, the Lions will just let me down one more time.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just kind of that mentality here in Detroit. It's tough. It's very split, polarized. You get the diehard fans, but there's always this with everything. There's caution that comes with it. And people know if they pour too much of themselves into it, they're going to get wounded.
Yes.
And time again, it just shows.
Yes, and it definitely shows. Shout out to my baby, Catherine Hughes, definitely a diehard Lions fan, definitely a very jaded fan, someone that has been through. And I mean, look, let me ask you this. How did you become a Lions fan? Is it just I know you're from Michigan, but is it just because of that or?
Well, to start, it was probably that they were the closest football stadium from where I lived.
Yep.
Proximity, of course, plays a big role of that. But, honestly, I didn't actually start to love the game of football, professional football, to watch it much until I was already after college, honestly. Yep. And a lot of that is because I moved to Boston shortly after I graduated from school, and living in that city and just the fans and how much they, care about their team and talk about it and always back them up and never talk crap about them. Yep. It was very inspiring. It really was.
Very different. Very tale of two cities, if you will.
It is. It's completely different stories, right? Detroit is still working on their comeback, and Boston, they've just had, their whole city is just littered with trophies. And so one could say it's because they win all the time. And, I definitely see that perspective. But if you spend some time there and you ride the subway train on a day when the Red Sox are playing, you can pick out a little old lady. She knows all the players' names. She's been going for the last 50 years. I mean, and Red Sox, they lost. They didn't win a championship in 100 years. And still came. Their city was they got it. This is their year. Everyone had their back. And, it takes, I guess if it's going to take 100 years for the Lions to finally bring one home, they're going to really need their fans to support them.
They will. Oh, I got it.
One day. I hope.
You're a believer. I like that. You're a believer.
Yeah.
You have not given up the faith, man.
No, I'll always have that positive outlook. Like I have to, that's just that's how I look at life in general. And I believe it. Like if you just believe it enough and put your energy into it, you'll get it back. So maybe like one day, just hopefully while I'm alive.
Right.
Bonus.
Dave will be the old man just sitting there with your Lions jersey, like I believed.
I believe. Like it's like. Dude, how many more years I got? Like, just please. So
just one time.
Yeah, I just want to make it down to the parade.
Yeah. Oh, I get that look. So, all right. I know that's your long-term thing. This, as we see on the screen, Detroit is 0-4. Couple close ones, a couple games that have been kind of like, oh my goodness. But for the most part, they've been handled. They've been fair, handled. Is there any hope for this season?
What hope are you looking for?
Yeah.
I
can't. Yeah. I can't.
Like, I know before the season started, a question you had for me was, will they win the NFC? And I'm like, that's a, I'm not going to put money on it.
Right.
But I think a lot of people would be surprised. It's just people have been burned too many times. They don't want to get hurt again. So that's just a real struggle. And watching how the season's been going so far, it's been tough. They I'll be honest, like right out the gate, I thought they were looking strong. I was really excited about Jared Goff, like coming to town. Matt Stafford, I loved him. I think he's a fantastic quarterback. But just being with the Lions, like he really needed to be with another team in order to have the best chance possible to get in a realistic, championship. But it's tough. Like, and it's so funny too, because Stafford and Goff, like they switch places. It's almost like a modern version of the Prince and the Pauper.
Right.
Because King Goffrey, as I like to call him,
right.
He left a safe and fruitful kingdom, and he swapped places with Matt for an experience. And now the Lions are 0-4, and my guess is Jared is just wishing he never traded his castle for the Lions then.
Let me wake up. Come on.
He's like, wait, it's all a dream. Let me go back.
Come on.
And now the new prince is like, I'm good.
We're good, right?
I'm the 5th ranked quarterback right now. I'm pretty solid. So
right, and doing good right now. If I'm not mistaken, last I looked, I think it was 21-10. They had up against Arizona. I'll check that. I don't know if that's a
Either way, I love seeing it. I love seeing him play with his new offense. Like, and
it looks good.
Yeah. And that's the thing is too, Goff looks great, I think, as well. Like he has his moments. Like he'll be in the pocket and it'll just like, oh, he's going to get tackled. And he'll move around and he'll do some like Mahomes stuff and just whip it down there to Hawkins. And I'm like, all right. Like, yay, we're in the 10-yard line. And then as we know today, the Lions were down within the 10 3 times. They got turnovers or fumbles. It was just disgusting. Yeah. And it just adds more fuel to the people who I think prefer just to be negative about the Lions constantly. So then they can go, yep, I was right again.
Right. See, I told you so. Like,
I know. It's like, but you know how easy it is just to say, like, to go with the odds and say something crazy. Like, they're going to win today. I know it. Like, that's a gamble. Like, it's tough.
It is. But I think you touched on a good point. Jared Goff has been having a sleepy good season. He's been keeping them in games. You look at the first game where you guys were down 41-14, and then he came back. He brought you guys back. He had a couple help with the onside kick and this and that. The first half of the Green Bay game they're in. You had the Ravens. You can't explain Justin Tucker hitting the longest field goal in NFL history. That just –
it's beautiful. Tucker's been one of my favorite kickers, like to watch.
There you go.
Him.
So,
like they've done exposés on him, and he's just a very fascinating person.
Yeah, he's an opera singer.
Yeah, he sings like in his church's choir, or like opera. I mean, it's fantastic. And he, and I don't, I might be wrong on this, but they said something like he had the most consistent field goals in a game or extra, like he's never missed an extra point. Like I remember watching the game and them saying that, and then like that game he missed an extra point. Like they just totally jinxed them. And
Just be quiet about it. Be quiet about it.
Yeah, he's got some like really cool like kicker statistics. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they're really interesting. Like most games in a row and things like that.
Yeah, I think I think one crazy one that I heard is that he's the only kicker in NFL history to kick one in every like section, like a second, like 10-yard line, 20 yards, 30, 40, 50, 60. Like the only one to kick in all 6 of those. I mean, it's crazy. So when you look at it like that, it's like, hey, well, if it had to be somebody to make the kick, I'm glad it was him. Like I take that one. And today was just today. Like today was, like you said, 3 times in the red zone. You have these turnovers.
It's challenging. It's hard. I mean, there's a reason why. I don't know. It's just like I said, when I started loving football, professional football, I didn't live in the city of Detroit like I do now. And it's like I'm always going to support them. And I really want them to get to a Super Bowl. Like I think it'd be so amazing for the city and people, but it's just like, it's tough. It's tough being a Detroit sports fan, because not only if like a team like lets you down, but for me, it's also the community. It's really hard to get them like behind somebody. And we used to have the Red Wings. They used to be like one of the best teams. We had the Russian Five and everything. And it was fantastic. And, you know, I just haven't watched hockey in a while, and man, but it's great. It's great when you're winning, but if not, like, it makes it tough.
Look, I feel for you. And now we have added another game to the season. Now we have a 17-game season. So instead of being 12 more, there's 13 more games. I'm hoping for the best. But you know what? I don't feel that bad for you, because you have 2 other teams that you support, your college and another pro team, that are absolutely on top of their world. I'm going to start with college. Michigan Wolverines. You guys are undefeated. Harbaugh was on the hot seat, but I don't think he is anymore. McNamara looks nice. How do you feel about your Wolverines?
I mean, I love college football, and you know, it gives me an excuse to watch football on both days of the weekend. I was at the game because I remember, like, for the last couple of years, people are like, "Oh, is Harbaugh like cracked up what people believe he is?" And just the doubt, and haven't gotten him to like the championship games that they were expecting. And it was very interesting because I was at the Michigan game a couple weeks ago. I think they were playing Illinois or Indiana. Man, that's terrible. But I've never been to a game. It was insane. It was like 60-0 at one point. Like it was, or 60-3. Like it was so crazy. I've never been to a game. I am never one of those people that like your team is down. For instance, this will never happen ever, ever, ever. If my team's down, I'm staying until the clock says 0. Okay. I'm going to be there to support them. People are like, oh, I'm going to move my car and I want to sit in a parking lot for an hour. That's not me.
Exactly. You're not going anywhere.
But that Saturday, when they were up so much, and there was like 2 minutes left, and half of the crowd, like, it was already like going through the exits. I'm like, do we want to stay for this? Like, we got them. You know, like 4th string is in right now. And it was just like, okay, we'll stay. And then the announcer says, all right, the timeout's going to be a TV timeout. And the whole crowd is like, oh, crap. So we're like, all right, whatever. It's like 2.5 minutes. They come back. They do one play, and they come back. The next timeout's going to be another TV timeout. I'm like, we out. We're gone.
Yeah, we got to go.
I'm not going to waste 25 minutes just to see these last like seconds. We can go. They got it. We're here. We support. But it's, I think to go back to Harbaugh, I think things are on the upswing, we'll say. But being in Michigan, people will be like, just wait and see. And it's very mixed. You know, where I live, it's either Michigan or Michigan State. And it's always going to be people battling it out, and it's the biggest rivalry next to Ohio. No matter who you meet, if they're the opposite team, there's always going to be button heads on
friction.
That. Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. How is that? Because obviously in this household, and my baby actually Kat is in Michigan right now, but in our household, it's green and white. It's Michigan State, it's East Lansing, it's Banks of the Red Cedar, it's all that jive. So I've been almost trained to just blindly hate Michigan. And I'm like, wait, I don't hate. I'm a huge Desmond Howard fan. You know what I mean? He came to Washington after he won the Heisman. I loved Charles Woodson. You know, I was a big Michigan fan. She was like, no, we can't stand them. And the way she explained it to me, she was like, they are to us what Duke. I'm a North Carolina guy, so they're like what Duke is to you guys. And I said, oh, okay, I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, you got to have that balance. And you know, I think my perspective is going to be different than somebody who goes to state.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Hey, me
so
too.
I'm always like, it's weird. I never had like, I don't want to say hatred. That's strong. But some people do like, if they're green and white, they hate Michigan.
Yes.
And like, I mean, if you want to have a really bad experience, go down to Ohio State with a Michigan shirt on. You're gonna get bothered for sure. Yeah. Like people are gonna come for you. And
I've heard that's crazy.
Like,
that's crazy.
Like, what do you care? Like,
right.
Real quick story. One time, as a kid, we went to Cedar Point, world's biggest roller coaster theme park in Ohio. As a kid, I forgot I was in Ohio, and we went to like an old Western like shootout area, and they were playing euchre, very popular game if you're not from the Midwest. And so like one of the Cowboys shot the other guy, and they're like, why'd you shoot him? He said, he was playing by the Michigan rules, and everyone laughed. And I was like, I don't get it.
Right. I was like, wait, what are you talking about?
And then I'm like, we're in Ohio. That's right. Ohio hates Michigan. Got it. Noted. Like, and that's what I grew up on. So I'm like, Ohio, I'll get you.
Right. And that was always weird to me with her because Kat would always say, you know, we're back and forth. We hate Michigan, but if Michigan's playing Ohio State, well, I hate Ohio State more and this and that. I'm like, how does that work? I don't get that. Yeah. Y'all hate each other unless you're playing Ohio State.
Yeah, I never hated Ohio State until they hated me. So
yeah, they're right.
It's just gonna go back. You, and it takes one person, right? It takes one person to get on it, and I'm like,
and then it's over. Exactly.
Yep. I've been hurt on that end too many times, so I gotta get tough.
So what do you think this year? They're undefeated. They have played, I think, a couple decent games. A lot more of them have been cupcakes. I know this last week they played Rutgers, and you talked about a couple weeks ago when they put up 60 something on the other squad. So they're undefeated, but they're going to start to get into the bulk of their schedule. You got a Nebraska who just beat Northwestern. Northwestern after that. Big game versus Michigan State. Indiana. Right now, undefeated Penn State team, Maryland, and then obviously Ohio State. Can you guys run the table this year?
I mean, it's really tough. You know, now I got to think. Am I going to think like a Lions fan, or am I going to think like a Patriots fan?
Well, right.
Oh my gosh. I think it's going to be more telling once we start to play a more difficult team. Even if you like read the comments when you go online, everyone's just like, oh yeah, but who did we play? Right. I get it. I think it's a really good morale booster. And we know so much of the game is mental. If you're down by 30, you're going into the second half, it's twice as hard to come out of that and win. So right now, I think their energy and the morale is just through the roof, and I'm hoping that'll be enough to take them. And you know, I'm always going to support them. And I think if they can like, let's say beat Michigan State and just crush them, or like another team, like Notre Dame, and just make it look like it's not that hard. I'm going to need to see something like that to say. And if they can do that, then I'm going to give them really good odds to make it toward the end, because Ohio State's like the big one. That is, they've lost to them so many times, and if they can beat them, I'll be like, they got it. But I gotta see them play like bigger teams.
Hey, it's getting into that time of the year. It's getting into that hoodie and sweater weather, you know what I mean? That pumpkin spice everything for the ladies, you know what I mean? It's the best time of the year.
Don't be hating that PSL, man.
Hey, I know it.
I'll be mixing that with my chai latte, iced chai latte, by the way. So it's good. Don't knock it, man. It's delish. And
I made a joke to Catherine about that, and then and I was sitting here and I was turned around doing something, and she was behind me, and she was like, "What do you mean?" And I turned around, and she has one of the brown sweaters, like the pumpkin latte spice, and I'm like, "See, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna give in. I'm gonna go with it, man. Pumpkin spice all day, baby."
Oh man. Well, you know what? Other season's coming around the corner. November 1st, nationwide.
What season?
McRib season, baby.
Hey!
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Oh my God, it's my favorite.
Let's go.
And anyone who knows me, just like this is the time of year where I start getting all the direct messages. They're like, "Did you see? Did you see? Did you see?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I saw." Like, I'm gonna be ready. Viva McRib. Let's do this.
There we go. Oh, I love that. Great. Now look. All right, man. So hey, we see what's going on with Michigan. You being from Detroit, I definitely wanted to bring out your pro team and how your college team could probably beat them right now. But another thing, we see the jersey you're wearing, and there's a connection. He went to the University of Michigan, the maize and blue.
He sure did. That's right.
Yes,
Number
sir.
10, baby. Yes,
sir. I love that. Man, Tom, the GOAT, Brady. I'm just going to let you start talking, man, because I already know how you love him, man.
I mean, Brady was like the catalyst to help me, I don't want to say help, but he was definitely the one that made me truly fall in love with the NFL and the game. So it's just to watch him play is just insane. He has so much passion, so much dedication. So he's so competitive. And I think a lot of why I really love him is because I see myself in him. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best quarterback in the world, but how he sees the game and pours so much of himself into it. Yeah. And just that's me, whenever I play a game, I play to win. Yes. And it's just amazing to watch him play. Honestly, for me right now, it is like when people used to watch Jordan play at the peak of his game, and to see Tom Brady almost I'm getting older, but Tom Brady stays the same age is just bananas. And if you look at all the statistics, it's insane. And the reason why I'm probably most looking forward to tonight's match is because I've had to sit and talk to any hater of Tom Brady and proclaim that he's the GOAT. He's the best ever, the best that ever will. And, probably the best that ever will for a long time until people take super drugs or whatever. And who knows, and live to 200. But I've always had to defend. I say, well, he's won here. He's done this. He's done that. And always somebody says, well, it's the Belichick method. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's great. It's because he cares so much. It's because he changes his diet. Yada, yada. We know all these facts. And tonight we get the opportunity to truly see, is it Brady or the Belichick method? It's literally up against each other. The only team that Tom Brady has never beaten is New England Patriots. Yep. And if he does that tonight, he's going to join an elite club that only 3 other quarterbacks have done it. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Brett Favre. Yeah. So if he does that, he can say, I've beaten every pro football team, and that'll be, and I feel no matter what, he's got 7 rings, even when he had 4 rings, I said he's the greatest. And people would say, well, so-and-so's got 5. And then that would happen. They're like, well, he only won because, and I'm just just
excuses. You
have excuses. You cannot admit. We could never have a conversation. I could show you the facts, and you would just say those aren't facts. No. And I'm like, if he wins tonight, which I believe he will, I'm like, here's some more proof. And if he still can't say he's the greatest, I mean, your Belichick method, that's out the window. Yep. He doesn't have Gronk today, and he's the oldest he's ever been today than he was any other day. He's 42. He's already planning to play for 3 more years. He says he's going to play to 45. I believe him.
Yeah, he'll do it.
He'll do it. And people doubted he'd play in his 40s, and he did, and he won a championship. I mean, he's batting 1,000. He's batting 1,000 with the Bucs. Why not do it again?
Right. He's great. And look, I'm gonna say it. am an 80s baby. I am a Joe Montana kid. Joe Cool was my guy.
Mhm.
Okay. And for me, when Tom first came, I was just I've gone through periods. Okay. I've gone through phases. When Tom first came off the bench, replaced Drew Bledsoe, came in, did all that, went up against the greatest show on turf and led them to that victory. I'm like, we are seeing greatness. Those for the game against the Panthers, the game against the Eagles, you know what I mean? I'm like, this is amazing. Then it got to a certain point for me where I just am like, all right. I guess it got to the point where it did for people that like did not like Jordan through the Jordan years. And it's just like, I just don't want to hear about this again. He's still here. He's great. You want him to fall off. The thing about Brady is no matter what, he's not falling off. Like, he just keeps on going. And anybody that has a doubt about who was the one, I mean, I think that should have been squelched last year when Brady won the championship with a new team.
Brand new team.
Yeah.
The first time he's worked with that offense. Like, incredible how fast he turned around. And that's because he is one of the most competitive, dedicated football players that will ever live. Like, he'll stay at home. He'll just look over that playbook. He'll make sure he has that connection with those players. Yeah. And the great sign of a great quarterback is a great leader. And, he really hypes them up. He lets them know that this game is, isn't just for you, it's for this team. Yep. And he really gets his players behind him. And he gets people that want his respect. Like, I mean, Julian Edelman, I mean, our fantasy football league, I named it Ladies and Edelman years ago. Yes, and Julian's just a great guy. And he, like, what he did is he moved to California when he first joined New England, so that way he could be closer to Tom, so they could like hang out during the summers and like practice and build that relationship. Oh, wow, because one of the most important things is to know your quarterback in and out, so that way you can read each other. So you can know, like, oh, as soon as I go out and I take 10 steps this way and you make this sound, or we're doing this play, I turn around, the ball's going to be there. Like, you just got to have that intuition, because we'd be talking so much different about Patriots and Tom Brady if they didn't have that connection. I mean, look at the greatest comeback ever in the Super Bowl, where Julian caught the ball like midair, just in between his red gloves, and it was just like, I lost my mind. Like, and ask anyone who was in my house that night, my wife and I, the whole time, they're down. What was the score? Oh gosh, it was like 47. This is terrible that I don't remember this fact.
For what? For what? They were down 28-3.
Yes. Whole time I'm like, not over. Yeah. And I even have my little nephew who he's like, oh, your team's losing. And I'm like, your team's not even in the Super Bowl.
Right. Get out the house. Right.
I was like, get out of here. But it was funny because the whole time, and I videotaped this because I knew and because I believed. I'm like, game's not over. Brady's coming back. Don't worry. I was the whole time. And I was like, all they got to do is get 2 touchdowns, 2-point conversions, do an onside kick, get it back. And that's exactly what happened, Sean. Yes. I what is it called? I said it, and it just happened in existence. Like, spoke it into existence. Oh my gosh. That was one of the most incredible nights of my life. Like, as a Patriots fan, and it was exhilarating. I'll never forget that night. That's when I knew.
That's what I knew. That's what I knew. And I still held out hope, because I have one of my closest friends is from one of the guys I grew up with is from Atlanta. You know what I mean? And he had been in that kind of position, the teams that hadn't won and for so long, and then they get there in '98 and they lose to the Broncos, and they finally got back. And I was just like, oh, this is great. And I remember I called him at halftime, and he was unsettled. He was just like, I'm not excited. We still have a second half. And I'm like, nah, man, like, this is good. This is it. But there was something, and I was just like, nah, he can't do this. 28-3, he cannot do this. Even all the way as they got and tied it up, I was like, no, it's not going to happen. And I tried to stay a hater. I'm not going to lie to you, Dave. I tried to stay a hater all the way to the end. Even like one of James White's touchdowns, I was like, no, his knee was down. No, it doesn't count. Doesn't matter. After that game, when they walked off the field, I just said, all right, I'm done hating. I can't.
Yeah, and you would have thought that was it for all the haters. The haters going to hate. I'd have to hear about it. Well, I don't know. Excuse. I'm like, there's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do or show, or apparently Tom, But like, no matter what, there's always going to be somebody that's going to have an excuse or say that he's not the greatest. And that's just really hard for me to even comprehend. But yeah, he never lets go off the gas, and he's always in it. He never quits. And that's what I love about him. That is my life motto, is never, ever give up. And I honestly live by that. And again, that's why I just have this connection with Tom, where I just love him. Like, it's just great. And we get to watch him play. And it's just, one day we're not going to have that. I think Mahomes has opportunity to be that next great quarterback. He's doing some crazy things. And, as he continues, I think he'll just get better at his game as well.
Yeah. But like you said, Tom, there's just something special about him. You mentioned him going and working with the receivers off season. You mentioned him having a close relationship with those guys. He puts in so much. I can't even give you the number, but I know the number's high. The amount of money he puts into his personal care to take care of his own body and all those type of things. So Tom, he's the guy. 10 Super Bowls, 7 victories. I don't know who can fight. I don't know who can argue. Yeah, I mean, is he still playing? And like I told people, and you mentioned it, I think we need to all sit back, like we did with Jordan. We need to sit back and just enjoy this. We are in the presence of greatness. I mean, and I would say about 75% of the rest of the league is under 25, if not just under 30. He is a full decade above most of these guys in the league and outplaying all of them. You can't dispute it, man.
Yeah, and I love it. You bring up how a lot of the guys are younger. There was this great meme going into, I want to say, the last Super Bowl he was with the Patriots. And there was a cartoon of like 3 of his current offensemen. And they were little kids watching Tom Brady on TV, and they were wearing their current day jerseys. Like it said like white and like two other players, and they were little kids like watching Tom Brady in his first Super Bowl, and now they're with Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. Like it's such a great, interesting story to watch.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And hopefully his run keeps going. My team's not going to dethrone him anytime soon, so we got to play them this year. But so all right, tonight I got 2 questions on tonight. Number 1 is predictions. What do you think the score is going to be? Do you think it's going to be a blowout, or do you think it's going to be closer because Gronk's not playing?
I'm sad that Gronk's not playing. I really wanted to see what Gronk would do after he got a touchdown in that end zone. Was he gonna be respectful, or was he just gonna break that football right into the end zone? Because when he retired, he was on great terms. Like he was just like, my body, I'm a tight end. I've been throwing
let me ask you a question about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I heard that there was reports that he retired because they were going to trade him to the Lions.
I didn't hear that specifically, but I did hear Gronk and Lions talk. I did hear there's the potential to do that. So I don't know. It's tough because how old's Gronk? Is he he's in his 30s?
I think so. Yeah.
So early 30s, I want to say. Maybe like 33 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm aging him too much or whatever.
He's younger than Brady. We all know that.
Yeah. And so I heard there's if he came to Lions, I was like, oh, awesome. Because of course people are like, what if Brady went to the Lions? And I was like, amazing. Just incredible. I would have supported Gronk and him going to the Lions, of course, just like everyone else in Detroit. But yeah, for him to, to have that year off and then come back out of retirement. And he said, if Brady plays, with the Bucs and I come out of retirement, I'm only playing with Tom Brady. And it's exactly what happened. And this beautiful relationship came back. And now they get to play against the Patriots. And I'm sad that Gronk's not going to be there for that game.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a great game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it will. When I say blowout, maybe Bucs win by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be a close game. It's just going to be an interesting dynamic to see because, Belichick's been coaching football for 34 years or more. But Tom was with the Pats for 20.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many more secrets and new ideas can Belichick come up with?
Exactly.
There's got to be something where he thinks, "Oh, this is brand new," and Tom's like, "I've seen that."
Right.
I want to see Tom. I want to see Tom playing some defense out there with like a headphone and trying to like read the lines. He's like, "Oh, I know this one. I know this one."
Right.
Like,
well, that's the thing. Is it going to be a situation like that where it's like Tom Brady is kind of like in a Super Bowl? The Raiders played the Buccaneers. Where the last time the Bucs were in the Super Bowl, where the Bucs just Gruden knew every call because he had coached the team before. Is it going to be something like that where Brady's like, "Oh, we practiced that 2 years ago. Oh yeah, I know this play. Look, I mean, because he knows them."
He might recognize some, but you know he doesn't have a great vantage point like the newscasters up top. But it's gonna. I think Belichick's gonna try to throw in some like new plays that obviously Tom has never seen before. He's had some time to whip that up. We've known since the summer that they were going to play each other. Yeah. So it's going to be a really interesting game, and I'm really looking forward to the outcome because, you know, at the end of it, either way, either the Patriots are going to win and I'll be happy for them, or Tom's going to crush them and I'll be thrilled for him. Like for me, it's a win-win no matter what because, and I think everyone who's watching the game, it's a win-win because you get to see an opportunity of these two teams playing each other. Exactly. So and now that Gronk's not playing, it just kind of evens it out a little bit.
It's 1-on-1, right?
Oh my God. It's going to be fantastic.
And the number one thing I think everybody is going to be looking forward to, and regardless of what the score is, they're going to wait to the end of the game. The final whistle blows. The teams start to converge and shake hands, and every camera is going to be on Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Are we getting a little handshake? Are we getting a hug? Are we getting a conversation? What are we getting? What do you think we're going to get?
I know what I want to see, and I would love to see them hug, but I don't think they're that much of a bromance. Yeah. Like, it's not going to be like a Super Bowl. I mean, it's hard to get any emotion out of Belichick, right? That's the joke. But gosh, I think they're going to do here. You know, if I was a betting man, and I am, I think they're going to go in for the shake hand and do that arm thing, you know, they'll do shake on like on the shoulder. I don't think they're going to do a full break in, but it's just going to be, it's not going to be the two hand or whatever, but I think we're going to partial hug close, you know, talk, get the pictures in, and that'll be it.
Just enough to lean into the ear, kind of whisper, yeah, and then split.
Yeah. And, you know, it just sucked because, like, of course, I wanted to see Tom stay with the Patriots the whole time. But, like, for me, it's like I live in an alternate universe. And if that wasn't a metaphor for our current state, our universe, I'd be like, wow, that's it. Tom Brady's playing for the Buccaneers. He's moving to Florida. And he wins a Super Bowl. Like, right away. We're in the upside down. I don't know what's going on.
Are you a Back to the Future fan?
Of course.
Okay, so Back to the Future 2. When they go back and then everything has changed and Biff is taken over, this is kind of what we're living in your mind. It's like everything is like, what is happening right now?
1,000,000%. Brady's got a casino he's going to be opening up next week. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Craziness.
It's crazy times. And I just love it. It's like we've taken football and turned it into fantasy, like legit.
Yeah. Yo, and wait, one more question. I have to say this. Does Kraft come down and meet Brady on field? No,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think so. I don't know. He was part of the reason why he left.
Right.
Yeah. He knew that if he didn't give him the franchise tag, that he would become a free agent, and that was the biggest mistake to the dynasty of the Patriots, because then Tom was like, I'll listen to people. And and that's a whole conversation on its own, because Tom has always stayed with the Patriots and had a salary cap. He basically refused more money because he wanted more players, more good players, because he knew like he cared more about his legacy than he did his bank account. Right. And so he's like, I gave the Patriots 20 years. And, sometimes all it takes is not just like money or somebody wanting to keep you around, but it's also like how they treat me. Cause like that happened to Jordan, you know, to be at the top of his game and for the team to go, we're not sure if we're going to keep you around for another year, but like, do great this year and we'll get back to you. Right. It's like, are you kidding me? I just won like 3 championships in 4 years. it's like the first episode of that Jordan documentary. But I feel that's how Brady felt. I feel like he wasn't getting that respect that he needed, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to listen to other people." And the Bucs said, "If you come with us, we'll give you 2 years, up to 2 years." And Patriots said only 1 for a possible renewal. And he's like, "I'm going to take guaranteed 2 years." Like,
exactly.
Course.
That's crazy. And when you think about it, obviously in hindsight, you're kind of like, how would you ever let somebody like that go like that? Or it's ridiculous. But it gets to that point where you're kind of like, all right, somebody thinking, that's when you start thinking the coach maybe is smelling himself, or some of those guys are maybe like, oh, well, maybe it is the system and this and that. And you're like, what? Are you crazy? Mm-hmm. Did you not see what this man has been doing for the last 20 years?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then they brought in, what's his name from Carolina? Cam Newton. Yep. And dude,
what was that?
Cam Newton. what happened? I used to watch him and be like, oh man, he's like, because I remember this one game, he's down. He's like, oh, we got this.
Yeah.
And he pulled a Brady and he won that game. And because you never count Brady out. Ever. And Cam Newton just didn't pan out, I guess. Nah. And they thought they could win and save some money. Mm-mm.
I don't know, man. I don't know what that was. I was happy that he had gotten a job, and I said, okay, under Belichick, okay, if this thing works, it'll be good. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as they drafted Mac Jones, I was kind of like, there it is. Writing's on the wall. His buddy Saban basically handpicked this guy, got him to him. I'm like, you know what? I didn't think they were going to release Cam. I thought they were going to maybe make him backup or anything, but maybe because of pride, they're not going to make him the backup. They just said, go ahead and cut him. So I don't know. We'll see. Interesting.
It's going to be really interesting, that dynasty. And, I hope it doesn't turn into like what happened with the Red Wings, let's say. Like that just kind of crumbled and fell apart, and they couldn't get it back together. But either way, they've made their mark for eternity. And, to be completely honest, like it's time for somebody else. And if that's going to be the Buccaneers, then I'm all for it.
There we go. As long as so you seem to think as long as it's around your quarterback, as long as it's around Tom Brady, no matter what team it is.
I mean, I love Tom Brady. I'll always back whatever team he's on. He could play for Cleveland Browns.
Come to Washington.
Go to Washington.
Come on, buddy.
Awesome. Why not?
I'll accept it, right?
I don't care. He's 50. He's 50. He wants to be backup quarterback. Just do it. I'll support it. Whatever. Right. I'll come to the games.
Good old Tom Brady, my guy, this guy. So, hey, tonight's going to be a great one. Definitely check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick before we left, you mentioned fantasy. So I do want to go into the current standings of Ladies and Edelman League. Luea Luck is undefeated. Same with Vanilla Nut Taps and Fantastic Mr. Badger. Dean's Dad is next at 2-1. And then the Brady Bunch, Average Joe's, Bunch and Brunch, and myself, Double S Express, are all 1-2. And Mutant League and Omega Squad are both winless. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting stomped right now against the Average Joe's, 125-99. How you looking?
Yeah, I'm right in the middle of the pack, but today looks tough. Let me refresh this. Earlier, so I'm playing my brother Joe right now. That's Dean's dad. Earlier, we were neck and neck. At least it got closer. So I'm predicted 113. He's predicted 119. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to wait to the buzzer for that one. But yeah, I'm right at the pack with 5. I'm 1-2. I really want this. I've lost the last 2 weeks. Yeah. It's been tough. Won the first week, lost the last 2. I really need this to get on some momentum, and for you as well, because I have like the most points, I believe. So if I can get this, and as you mentioned, Luea Luck, who's in first place right now, that's my wife.
Yeah.
It's funny because like Luea Luck is kind of like my catchphrase. Yeah. And I'm Luea Luck in another league. So sometimes I see it and I'm confused. I'm like, all right, I'm in first. Like,
right.
Hey man, nope, that's the wife.
Not me, right.
That's the wife. Yeah. Hey. But I'm happy for her. If the trophy and the money stays home,
there you go.
That's a great championship. Yeah.
Right. So. And I got to shout out Lisa, because I believe 2 of the last 3 years I have had decent seasons, but made it to the playoffs, got a first round win, and then that middle round whenever I come up against a buzzsaw that is Luea Luck, it's ugly. It is ugly. She has taken me out of the playoffs at like 2 of the last 3 years. I'm just like, you know what?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what sucks? You and me both, because last season, if you had beaten her, then I would have been in the playoffs as well. But because my wife beat you, she essentially took me out of the running as well. And I was like, if you lose, then like it'll be you and me. And
right. Like, we can work it out.
I know. No, like there was a point where it was almost nothing but Luia's in the tournament.
Yep.
It was gonna be myself, my wife, my nephew Peyton, who's Average Joe's, who you're playing right now, I believe.
Yep.
And then my brother Joe. So it was just gonna be like a Luea tournament.
It's
a tournament of Luia's.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. And we were this close.
Yeah. Oh me. It's
this season.
Yeah, right. It's still early. So we shall see how it pans out, but it does not look good for me today. So I'm gonna be in the basement looking up. Oh, Cobb got 2 touchdowns. Oh man. All right, man. I'm sorry. I'm refreshing this. I got fantasy going over here. People messaging me this left and right. David, this has been absolutely amazing. I've been trying to get with you for the longest time. Same. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally got Dave on here. I'm so glad. Real quick before we go, is there anything that you're working on? Ladies and gentlemen, Dave is into he's got a lot of things going on, man. I remember the first time Kat was telling me about you, and shout out to your sister, Alice Luea, doing big things. I talked to her not too long ago, a couple days ago. You won that contest that you were in.
Which one?
Way back, before you got married. Way back.
The game show?
Yeah, the game show.
Oh, yeah. Dang, the anniversary of that just happened. It was September 25th.
Oh, day before my birthday. I like that.
Yeah. Also the what is that? The Earth, Wind, and Fire song.
Yes.
Yeah. Every time that happens, exactly. So every time that comes on, I'm like, oh yeah. No, that was 2012. I want to say. Wow. So it was just the 9th anniversary of that game show of Let's Ask America, where I went undefeated, and I'm still the only person on that game show. It was on 4 seasons. Nobody else was got every question right. It was just incredible. But yeah, no, I'm just trying to manage, enjoying football and doing things like going to New York for the weekend with work. Yeah. So I'm always working on some side project. I still have like my sister's wedding photos I have to edit, that, just personal ones.
I got to send you those. I got to send you the ones I took as well.
Yeah. Cause I want to put together some kind of like video collage, but I also have another friend's wedding I did like back in May, and I'm still not done with that, but work's just been a hassle. It's been overwhelming. I'll say not a hassle. But it's been keeping me really busy. So I'm hoping to carve some stuff out before snow on the ground. So fingers crossed.
Oh, I like that. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, I wish I don't have the footage on me. It's actually on my phone. But Dave put together one of the most amazing performances for his sister Alice for her wedding, where he got the whole family together, spliced up kind of a couple songs. They did a whole presentation and performance. Dave, man, that was out of this world. I was sitting there just like, they're still coming. They're still coming.
Yeah. It was a blast. So it just kind of became a tradition within my family that when somebody got married, we did some special performance for them. And before my sister's was the one that Alice actually did in collaboration with my other sister, Emily. They were kind of like, the project managers for that. And they did songs and reenactments out on like the dance floor of like things that represented my childhood and our family memories. And it was just incredible. So like Alice is somebody, and my sister who just got married in August, and she always goes above and beyond for people. So she, she had to know we were going to do something. So we made sure to do something nice for her. And that was just kind of putting together the same kind of performance for her, including my sister loves Hamilton. So myself, my mom, and my wife actually like helped write lyrics together and redid one of the Hamilton songs.
That was dope. That was
and we
so
just
great.
came out, and I was dressed as Alexander Hamilton, and my mom and my sister were like dressed in like other, period piece
Colonial.
people.
Right.
Yeah, colonial. And just like as soon as she heard the note, she knew it was Hamilton. But then I started singing the lyrics, and they were original lyrics all about Alice and Greg.
Yes.
And she just like lost it. So that video's out there. I want to piece together like a multi-view, but I just need more camera angles and stuff.
Okay. I'll after we do this, I'll definitely send you what I have, because I have the angle from looking at her and looking at that table. But from where the band was. So yeah, I'll get that too.
Yeah, because I want to get that, the one my brother-in-law Matt did, and then see if I can get the film from the videographer. Perfect. So I can post it online.
No doubt. Well, man, yes. Hey, Dave, I'm so glad we got a chance to sit down and talk. Same. I definitely want to keep rapping with you, man, because anybody that is a diehard Detroit fan, but also a Tom Brady fan. I mean, that's a rare thing to have matched up there. But so shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. I definitely do.
Thank you. That means a lot. There's not too many of us. So
there you go. Yeah, you ain't lying.
Yeah, it always makes for exciting Sundays. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Always something to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, for me, your boy Sean Spencer, my guy over here, David Luea. Hey, hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday evening. Peace, guys.
Right. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer. We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The lion. The lion. New man losing so fine. Kirk Cousins.
All right. I am Janae